if you make me laugh, we have to start all over, okay?
I let it go home at
We'll
4:10.
be here till 5.
Yeah. All right, are you ready, Adam?
I'm ready.
Okay, go. Hi, my name is John Sanito, and I'm a provider customer service rep with Medicare Part B. The subject of this presentation is the correct way to complete the CMS 1500 claim form when Medicare is a secondary payer. Failing to complete these steps correctly will almost always result in your claim being rejected as unprocessable. There will be time to answer questions at the end of this presentation, so please note any that arise, and we will address them at that time. The first step to completing the claim form correctly is going to be to complete box 1 by checking Medicare. This is to indicate that the claim is being submitted to Medicare. It is not correct to select any other boxes when billing Medicare, even if the patient may have those plans also. See, I checked a little box for Medicare. We're going to enter the patient's complete Medicare number in box 1A, including the letters at the end, exactly as it appears on the Medicare card. Medicare number that begins with the letters for Railroad Medicare and will need to be submitted to that program. Please note, a Social Security number is not a Medicare number. In box 3, enter the patient's date of birth and sex. In box 4, the name of the person who is insured by the primary payer is entered. In this case, Mr. Smith's wife, Susie, is still working and has a group policy which covers her and her spouse, so we will enter her name here. If the primary policy were held by Mr. Smith, perhaps in the event that he was still working, we would simply enter the word same. In box 5, enter the patient's address and telephone number. In box 6, we indicate the patient's relationship to the person listed in box 4. If box 4 says self, then box 6 should be checked self. In this case, Mr. Smith's wife has the primary coverage, so we will check spouse. In box 7, enter the insured's address. The insured is the person listed in box 4. Since Mrs. Jones Smith still lives with Mr. Smith, we will enter the word same. Box 8 is pretty straightforward. Mr. Smith is married and not employed. Box 9 is only used when there is Medigap insurance involved. It will not be used in this example. Box 10 is also self-explanatory. Now, by completing box 11, the physician or supplier acknowledges having made a good faith effort to determine whether Medicare is the primary or secondary payer. When Medicare is primary, the word none would be entered here. When Medicare is secondary, as in our example, in box 11, we will enter the insured's policy or group number from the primary insurer's explanation of benefits, or EOB. This is important. A copy of the primary payer's EOB must be included with the CMS 1500 claim form that you submit to Medicare, or the claim will be rejected as unprocessable. If the number entered in box 11 does not appear on the primary payer's EOB, the claim will be rejected as unprocessable. Complete box 11A only if the insured is someone other than the patient. In our example, since Susie is the insured person listed in box 4, we will enter her information here. In 11B, we enter the name of the employer providing the primary policy, if applicable. In 11C, we will enter the name of the primary insurer. We're going to leave 11D blank. It is not required by Medicare. The patient's signature in box 12 authorizes the release of any information that may be needed to process the claim, and indicates that the patient does in fact want the claim to be filed with Medicare by the provider. In lieu of signing every claim submitted on their behalf by the provider, the patient may sign a statement to be retained by the provider, and the provider may enter the words signature on file in this box. Box 13 must contain the insured's signature, a computer-generated signature, or the words signature on file to indicate the patient's desire for the Medicare participating provider to receive payment directly from Medicare. The remainder of the form addresses patient's condition and provider's information and is completed the same regardless of whether Medicare is primary or secondary, so we will not address those parts today. A link to the instructions for completing the CMS 1500 claim form can be found at www.wpsmedicare.com. Click the link for Part B providers and accept the licensing agreement on the following page. On the page after that, the main body of the page is the heading Medicare Departments, below which you will see a link titled Claims. Follow that link to the Claims page and then select the link titled CMS 1500 Claim Form Instructions. Are there any questions? Great. Thanks for coming today. If you wouldn't mind, please give us your feedback on today's presentation, and I'll collect those in just a moment. Thanks.